Hey there, welcome to the first of a few new Marvel Crisis Protocol videos I'm going to be putting out on basically how to play the game. In this first video I'm just going to go over the basics, review the key concepts and rules of the game, and then progress further into more detail in some of these other videos. As always though, my name is Nate, and welcome to the Gamers Guild. So, for those who didn't know, Marvel Crisis Protocol is a miniature skirmish game, which means it's going to usually have around 8 to 12 models on the table at a time, with some pieces of terrain and other things. The first thing I really want to start covering, though, is the objective cards, or the crisis cards, and how they work. They're made up of a few different parts. That has the crisis card's name, the crisis type, whether that is a secure or an extraction, the threat level, which determines how many points worth of models you're going to be able to bring to the mission, the setup, which is a little box that tells you which type of objective to bring, where to put it on the board, and how many of them to bring, how the scoring is going to work, like how many points the objective is worth and when it's going to be scored, and then the final part is the objective's unique interaction with the game, or the rules it has for the game. It is also probably worth noting how you're going to try to win the game. You're trying to get to 16 victory points before your opponent does, or just take all of their models off the table. There is a 6-round limit in the game, with the exception of if you have to go a little bit longer to break a tie. This game also has something called a priority token, which can be passed back and forth throughout the game and determines the order in which players are going to activate their models. Priority is determined at the beginning of the game, but more about that in the next video. Another key part of the game worth knowing about is power. Power is a resource that each character gains and uses over the course of a game, and it is tracked by tokens that you keep on their card. One character can never have more than 10 power at a time, but the main ways that you're going to be gaining power is either taking damage from enemy attacks or enemy effects, and each character always gains 1 power at the beginning of each round. The last two things I want to give a general overview of real quick are the character stat card as well as the team tactic cards. Character stat card, up at the very top, you're going to have the superhero name. Just below it, the alter ego. The alter ego is actually going to be really important because this way we're able to have both a Miles Morales Spider-Man and a Peter Parker Spider-Man on the table at the same time. Down below the names, we have their stat line, the first one being the stamina, or their health value, followed by their movement range, then the size, which is going to come up when you're determining things like cover, line of sight, and then that last number is their threat value. Below that we have all of their defense values, which basically how many dice they're going to be rolling when taking an attack of that type, and then below that we have the list of attacks. And then down at the very bottom of the card we have their superpowers. As well, most characters have a injured side of their card that gains different abilities or has different stats. Captain America is a great example because he has differences in both of these things. If we flip him over to the injured side, we see that he has 1 more stamina and gains a new ability. But then the last thing I did want to talk about were the team tactic cards. They're really cool, versatile, once-per-game abilities that you're able to activate that can be anything from a team-up attack like Captain America and Iron Man doing a ricochet blast, or even something as simple as patching up an ally. Up at the top of these cards you'll always have the name. Down below that you'll have whether it needs an affiliation or not. And then below that it'll either say reactive or active. Active being you can play this when you want, reactive meaning that you have to play it in response to a certain trigger. Then below that you just have the rules text, or basically what that card is going to do. So guys, that's all I have for this video, going over just some of those key concepts and rules of the game. The next video in the series is going to go over how to set up your game so that you're ready to dive in and start playing. Until next time, keep on gaming.